So the title of my talk is Give It Free Rein or Rein It In, or borrowing from Linda's words, adapting them a bit, our words on Monday, when to act or speak with courage and when to act or speak with restraint. And we're always moving along that continuum between giving an experience free rein and reining it in, between speaking or acting with courage and speaking or acting with restraint. Two ends of a spectrum, and of course, much lives in between. So it seems to me that we can intentionally learn to do this better, this kind of discernment, and practice it in meditation. Um, in reflective meditation, we often suggest you allow your thoughts and emotions to just be as they are. So, in that sense, maybe reflective meditation could be titled Free Rein Meditation, but not always, so it wouldn't be the right title. There are also times when it is wiser, kinder, more skillful to rein things in. And there's no hard and fast rule we can rely on here. Always situational, contextual, and really deeply personal. Still, as we become more aware and reflect on our experience, we may begin to develop some inner guidelines for ourselves. Again, rather than it coming from being told when to rein it in, we find that for ourselves. For example, sometimes I notice I'm thinking about the same thing and it seems like it's in the same way from the same view. And it seems like it's been the umpteenth time and it just feels the same. So at that point, sometimes I choose to redirect my attention. Or maybe I feel I'm getting increasingly tangled, feeling worse rather than clearer. And maybe I recognize that the kindest thing I can do for myself is to turn my attention elsewhere. Though at other times, under other conditions, courage is what's called for, to let more in, to expand the boundaries of what we know, what we're willing to explore, what we can reflect upon. In my experience, as we develop this discernment in meditation, it naturally begins to show up in our lives outside of meditation as well. I mean, the capacity to sense when to give something free rein and when to travel and when to rein it in. This travels with us out of our meditation into our life. Now, we're not going to always get it right. How could we? We don't ever get everything. It's just not, we're human. Though meditation is, in many ways, a relatively safe way to experiment, to try things out, to learn from what happens. Which brings me back to really the focus of our week, which is about conversation and speech. And if I was to have to say where I most regularly practice this discernment outside of meditation, I'd say it's in my conversations, in my speech, discerning what to say, what to leave unsaid, when to say something. I don't know, but it seems like it's rarely appropriate to give our speech completely free rein. In fact, I'm sure that it's not appropriate. Some of us, myself included, have a habit of talking a lot. For me, this is partly cultural and I think partly a long-standing personal habit, probably based on childhood experiences. And so for me, it seems like the practice usually leans into reining in my speech. And for others who have the habit to be more quiet, more invisible, not to speak their minds, the practice might be leaning towards courageously speaking up. And of course, it's not one or the other, but leaning. That's why I use that word, leaning. So earlier in my career as a psychotherapist, I used to imagine a supervisor. It seems like she'd be sitting in the room right like over my shoulder. Of course, she was just another part of me. And she would offer, and this was, of course, happening silently in my own mind, but she would offer me this guidance, be quiet, or not now. because I might have had a useful insight, something that would be valuable to say out loud, but the timing was off. And that points to another layer of discernment. It's not just what to say, but when. So you could say, as a psychotherapist, I practiced speech for a living. My psychotherapy practice, my work was largely talk therapy. In that role, it was really easier for me to practice appropriate and skillful speech. I find it to be much harder to do this with the people who I'm closest to. Why? Because I don't have needs for my clients outside of our professional contract. With the people in my life, I have many needs, people close to me in my life, and those needs shift and fluctuate. So, in these challenging political times, and of course, the next challenge just happened, and with the challenges of aging, which seem to be coming on with regularity, my needs feel stronger. My reactivity seems to be closer to the surface. That means I often need to rein myself in more carefully. At the same time, I may also need to find the courage to speak up more, and maybe also the kindness to forgive myself when I can't pull all this off. But the stakes feel higher now, and the discernment more delicate. So, just to reiterate what I've already been saying, this is a practice, something we learn again and again, when restraint is the wiser path, and when courage asks us to speak. So I will end the talk there. And since the schedule's changed and I now teach on Thursday, that